What's going on, guys? It's your boy and ladies. It's your boy Sadiq Davies. Welcome to the Netwrk Podcast. And what's going on, Miss
Angela
Montero?
Oh, snap the government.
Listen, gotta throw the government out there. You know what I mean? What's going on, Angela? How's your day?
Good.
Yeah.
A little crazy this morning.
Yeah, why is that?
The world of Airbnb, you know.
What happened?
The checkout guests, smoking.
Smoking what? Cigarettes?
Smoking weed, smoking cigarettes.
Get out of here.
And they left the evidence. I just don't understand. So, I don't know. I got to figure that out when I leave here.
What does that look like for as an Airbnb
I have
host?
no idea, honestly. I haven't had to do... So, this guest is actually through VRBO.
All right. Is that another platform?
Yeah, it's similar to Airbnb.
Gotcha.
But I've never had to do a claim.
All right.
I haven't had to do a claim on either platforms. There's been like one time a woman, she left her dog in the bathroom and it scratched up the back of the door. And I'm like, I have to paint this whole door. And she's so nice about it. She's like, no, I'll send you money right now. And she did. I didn't have to go through the claims process,
cool.
which was fine. Because I'm not trying to like get rich off these people. I just want to recoup my funds.
The damages
and the
like
damages.
That.
But
yeah.
I don't know. I've never done it. We'll see. I have my cleaner taking pictures
Yeah.
of all the evidence.
How's your week other than that?
Good. Yeah.
Do anything fun?
No.
You can't tell me that you had a boring ass week. There's no way.
did. I wasn't feeling good in the beginning of the week,
All right.
so I just was sleeping a lot.
Yeah,
I wish I did something fun.
Did you work at least?
I did work,
All right.
but I mean, it snowed. What was that, Tuesday?
It snowed twice this week.
Yeah, but bad on Tuesday. So that was
Tuesday?
a nice snow day.
Yeah.
I got some work done. You know, you could do so much. You can only do so much.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. My week was pretty good. Can't really complain. You know, had a showing this week as well in Cumberland with a family that was looking at single family homes. That was pretty good. That was a good day.
Any offers in?
We're not sure yet. They want to think about it. I'm hoping they're interested in putting an offer in. The only downside that they're really skeptical about is oil heat. And this sucks because a lot of people don't like oil heat.
No.
And I get it, right? Because you pay like what, $400 or $500 or whatever it is. That probably doesn't fill up the tank, right?
No, not today.
Not today, right? And then when the usage on that, if you have a big family and you're using a lot of utilities or whatever that utilizes oil, that goes down quick.
Yeah.
And now you got to refill that back
Yeah.
up. So it could become more than what a regular gas bill or electric bill could be. So I understand from people's perspective why they like to stay away from oil heat.
Yeah.
I mean, oil itself.
Yeah, it's not like it used to be. So, fun fact,
Yeah.
because I lived a million lives, I used to work at an oil company.
Get out of
I
there.
used to work at an oil company.
That's what I feel like you're the jack of all trades, Ange.
Listen, I am of the generation that was like right before Obama came in office.
Mm-hmm.
So if you didn't have a full-time job, you did not have medical. You didn't get to stay on your parents' medical until you're like, what, now it's like 25,
24, 25, yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't get to. So straight out of high school, I had to get a full-time job.
Yeah.
And so I was working at this oil company in Providence, and I learned like the way it works. Back then, we were getting faxes. You would get a fax every morning with the price of a barrel, and then we would set the price so that we could make a profit.
Gotcha.
And it was kind of sad. I remember we get like elderly people. They'd want 25 gallons delivered. We just couldn't do it.
Why?
Because you waste more diesel fuel getting the truck there
Get out of here.
than you would. So it was like you would have to get at least 100 gallons delivered.
Oh.
It was so sad.
So I
sad.
don't even understand how the oil business works. So I'm not definitely familiar with that space.
You have to set the price per day because the barrel changes. So as the cost of a barrel changes, as a small business, you have to set your price.
Interesting.
And so obviously you're having to factor in whatever your overhead is, and all that, and
That's
what you're
very
paying your
interesting.
guys. How many delivery trucks do you have on the road? What are you paying your guys hourly? And so that's all factored in.
Oh, that's interesting. I
crazy.
didn't even know that. So I'm glad you actually just taught me something new.
Yeah.
You know, I'm going to have to go back and listen to this anyway just to learn from that. You know what's crazy? Not even to be political by any means necessary, but I'm not sure if you've been watching the news, what's going on with Trump, how he lost the civil suit and he has to pay.
Yeah.
Now he lost the civil suit. Now he has to pay $355 million on top of the 80-something million dollars that he has to pay some lady. I forgot. So now this dude, he has a total of $450 million that he has to pay out,
Yeah.
right? And what he did, what this guy did, and this is just random. This is right outside of real estate, but I just thought it was hilarious in terms of how this guy operates, because right after his civil suit that occurred, I think like the next day or that day or hours later, whatever it was, he presented his shoe line.
Oh yeah, he teamed up with that tacky shoe.
The high top gold design with a big T and I think the American flag on it.
Yeah.
Guess how much you were selling that?
I don't
for?
even know. I saw them, but I couldn't even read it.
So the sneakers are super limited.
Yeah.
So there's only 1,000 out there that was designed, right?
You got to create a demand, right?
He definitely created demand, and that demand bought out all the shoes before it even went live. Yo, this dude he gets that paper, and the dude was charging $400 per sneaker.
Hey, I mean,
that's $400,000.
We've been doing it with Jordans for years. You know, people been doing it for years. We line up at the mall, punch someone in the face if you don't if they get in front of yeah. So hey, I mean, it's comical. No, we are living a real life simulation. Like this is a sitcom. It's a sitcom. You can't write this. You can't write this shit.
How we're living
First
right now.
First of all, the number that he owes, right? That number alone is just laughable. Like that's astronomical. That's some Simpson shit.
They said that's his cash that he has on hand, and the dude's worth $2 billion.
I don't know, but those numbers are laughable in itself. And then you just go down all like the lawsuits.
Yeah.
Funny, and then you're like, oh, gold sneakers. Gold sneakers, that'll do it to you.
Yo, I
don't know.
People just invest their money. I understand they try those are probably donations, I guess he's going to utilize for. But the way people spend money for certain things, you know, when they could be utilizing those funds for their own personal investment gains, is like it's nuts, right?
Yeah. The loops and things though that he goes through to do them because.
He's always finding them loopholes.
Well, because he's not permitted to do business in New York State anymore
for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
So that means no real estate.
No.
Nothing.
No.
His sons can't even operate his business.
No, they can't. They can't make. They can't. It's funny. I can't even not laugh and not say it. But so when he dropped the sneakers, he did it like at a sneaker con in Pennsylvania.
All right.
So, because he can't even, he's not even promoting it in New York.
He can't promote it in New York.
He can't. He couldn't show up at a sneaker con in New York.
Damn, that is just I don't know, just to see what he's going through. And for some reason, he's always overcoming all these obstacles. He has so many people supporting him, you know. So I don't know. The dude's just, it's real, like you said, it's a sitcom right now.
It's a sitcom.
It's nuts. It's
just
nuts.
Sit back and watch. I don't know.
It is what it is, man. It is what it is. You know Bilal from Earn Your Leisure?
Oh, yes.
Light skinned dude with the beard, black dude. He's going through some crazy ass situation right now with, I think he's developing a new construction home, his first home. And he just posted this a couple of days ago. And like just the headline itself, it says something about he made the worst financial mistake. His worst financial mistake was buying a home. Wow. And if you have read the comments, right, there was different people had their own viewpoints. And by the way, I love reading comments. Yep. I go in for the comments.
Me too. You know what's so funny? I can't even watch a show now because there's no comments. like I want to be on like a Netflix show and I just want there to be comments. I want to watch with the rest of the world and I want to see what Joe from like Nebraska has to say about this.
That's actually a dope idea. If they actually create a comment section within like TV series, that would be crazy.
I would love that.
Netflix, there's a gem right there for you. You guys should think about that.
Yeah.
But like, nah, he's going through some ill ass shit, building a new construction home, and I think you guys gotta watch this the clip itself on his Instagram page. Just a quick brief explanation. I guess he was supposed to have a water basin in his back. For some reason, the design or whatever it was, I guess the water. listen, at the end of the day, he has to put that water basin on the ground now.
Okay.
So now he has to go through engineering. So that's hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, attorney fees.
Yeah.
The person that he purchased the land or the property from, I guess, was a con artist, from what he said. So the dude conned him to purchase this property. So like he's just going through this whole entire ordeal. I will definitely post up the clip on our Instagram page so you guys can get an idea of what we're talking about. I personally can't explain it as well as Bilal did. I believe that's his name. Bilal. Is it Bilal? Rashad Bilal. Bilal's his last name. Rashad. I can't explain that as clear as he did in his video, in his content. But you kind of feel bad for the dude.
Yeah.
You kind of really feel bad for him.
I mean, first of all, real estate can be complicated,
Yes.
which is why it's important to have a realtor. But you also have to do your due diligence, especially when you're buying land. You don't know. I mean, you're stepping into the development world,
Yeah.
so you see how complicated it is before you even break ground.
Correct.
Everything that you're going through before that first bit of cement is even poured for foundation. It gets a little wild. So I do feel bad when people get caught up like that.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel bad, and I wrote within this comment within the post of his video. I look at real estate like this, and in the comment I say something along the lines of if you ever watch Forrest Gump, that famous quote, "Life is like a box of chocolate, you
One
never
of my
know."
favorite movies, top 10.
Amazing movie, and that quote itself, "Life is like a box of chocolate, you never know what you're gonna get." I tie that into real estate because when people are going through the process of buying a home or invest in real estate, whatever that looks like for them, you just don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah.
Real estate is like a box of chocolate. You just don't know what you're going to get. Unfortunately, you could do your due diligence all you want. You could do home inspection, this and that. But inspectors, they can't see behind the walls.
Can't see behind the walls.
So they have to make their best decision.
There's a risk you have to take.
There's a risk that you have to take.
That's why not
There we go.
everyone's built to be an investor. That's why everyone's not built to be a landlord. That's why everyone's not built to be a business owner, because there's a risk,
a major
that
risk,
you
a
have
big
to
risk.
take in order to be successful. You look at any small business to large corporation, and that didn't just come easy to anyone. They've taken a lot of the risk, which is why a lot of times, the CEO or the boss, whatever, they get that bonus check because they literally have put all that risk on their back, and then we, the consumers or whatever, we benefit from it.
I agree with you.
But if you have to have a certain like you have tenacity.
Guts.
Yeah, I was gonna say balls, but that's not right. But
that's true though.
You do. You have to have
you need them
certain...
what is it? Cojones?
Yeah, but you know what? I could go off on a tangent on that. But you do. You need a certain amount of it because you have to stick through like the hard times. I can tell you some great reasons that to buy real estate, right? Mm-hmm. But I also can tell you the risk associated.
Yeah, true.
And are you ready or are you not?
That's true. You really do have to. You have to be willing to take on that risk.
And I think while he's in it right now, the dollar amounts that he's having to dish out,
hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I would never try to convince him not to feel the way he feels because that's a lot, and that's a lot to go through.
Yeah.
But I mean, if he has already gone this far, in 5 years, I'd like to have that conversation or see what he has to say about this juncture in his life.
No, you're 100%. Listen, Rashad, we wish you the best. Good luck on that process. Hopefully all that situation get resolved. Big shout outs to you. On a local level.
Yes.
Man, popular New York system. The very first, not the one on Onlyville. Shout out to the one on Onlyville. I forgot the owner's name. I know him pretty well. That's probably the best one in Rhode Island anyways. But the original New York system, Baba's original New York system, I believe it's off of North Smithfield. Smithfield, Smith Avenue. in Providence.
You shouldn't even try to name streets though. You're not good with streets.
I'm not. I'm the worst navigator. First
You
of
are.
all,
You need your
I
GPS.
need my GPS for everything. Please don't shit on me. I do need my GPS. I live in a small state and I still can't find my way around small state. I live in a small city and I still have to use my GPS to get around Providence.
I know.
That's crazy.
I know.
That's crazy.
I've been in your car. I've seen it. As soon as you get in, he's boop, 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 and the GPS. You're going 2 blocks.
Listen, it is what it is. She's 100% right. But Baba's New York system which was found in 1927, almost 100 years.
Damn.
Is on the brink of closure.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Why? Just because they're like sick of it? They're sick of the smell, or because? No,
Yo,
or is it because like they just can't handle it anymore just because things cost so much? Because like
financial strain.
Oh
is a
no,
big thing.
that's sad.
They losing a lot. They used to see when I read the article, they were seeing a certain amount of people per day. Now they barely see a few go in and out. You know, they say that they're losing like $15,000 a month or something like that.
Oh my goodness.
You know, so business has not been the same for them. So they're on that brink of closure. You know.
I mean, you know what? My dad, that's one of my like dad's go-to staple things. Used to love it. I never messed
Baba's
with
New York system or Onlyville New York system?
I don't know.
Listen, there's a difference.
I don't know. I don't eat that. I haven't eaten that. I was never a fan of it.
All right, New York system.
I don't understand the phenomena.
Is the one that everyone goes to. Celebrities been to that one.
Oh,
that is the shit right there.
Oh,
Baba's original New York system. I've never tried it. I don't even know how it tastes. I've tried other New York system in different areas of Rhode Island.
Yeah.
They don't taste the way the one on Onlyville tastes like.
Oh, well, I don't know because I've probably maybe only had probably a half of one in my entire life because my dad would go and my brothers were into it and they loved it. But to me, it just like no offense if you like that, but it just kind of looks like a hot dog with like dog food. And like food stuff.
Yo, this fucking girl.
I just can't. So I don't know. But I have a question. Do you think part of it is because people are more aware of what they're putting in their bodies?
Good question.
I mean, because like it's like I said, it's not cute to look at. Like that's not appetizing. And then it's just it's hot dogs and like slops on ground beef. Onions,
seasoning.
Like it can't be good for you. So it's not like you can go and have that like regularly. It's not like your local. Can't. It's not like your local like shake place where you're like, oh, I'm just gonna go grab my daily shake. You go and grab your daily New York system. Yeah. You were probably taking off like 10 years of your life.
Dude, you cannot have it on a regular basis.
No.
But listen,
I feel bad.
On a drunk night after the club, back in the days, people listen. Back in the days when there was club, I don't know if you remember Club Sanctuary on Half of that, the Onlyville, New York system that was right there. Sanctuary was up the street. Back in the days, on a drunk night, you're done. You hit up New York.
I grew up in South Providence. We went to Bird Street Club, so we had fritura. We had chimis. I didn't have to eat a New York system.
New York system was
I can't even imagine that coming up the next morning. Ooh.
Onlyville, New York. Shout out to Onlyville, New York system.
Shout out to y'all and people that like it. I can't do it.
I can't. That's a once in the blue moon type of thing, you know. But it is what it is, you know. Sorry to hear that Baba's Original School is that boat.
But speaking of local markets, let's look at our local market because you actually asked me. We had a conversation the other day, and you're like, "Yo, doesn't it seem like inventory's like low?"
Low.
And I'm like, it does. It does.
I had to ask Angela, right? Because we all always do, like, as realtors, you always want to stay on top of the market, know what's going on, and Angela, she's the broker owner of our office, so she's literally on top of these stuff. So I'm like, Angela, is it me? Because I'm big on data too. I'm like, Angela, is it me? Or is our housing market, is there a shortage going on right now?
Yeah. And when so I knew it, right? Because when I'm in there with my buyer clients and seller clients, but then when I started comparing like historical data, I was like, oh my goodness gracious. So I don't want to get these numbers wrong. So first of all, as of today, now I pulled them this morning. So if you put something in contract from now until when this airs, good for you. Proud of you. But there's 130 multifamilies
Damn,
only.
that's low.
Low. And if we compare this to pre-COVID, so 2019, there were 426.
That's a
So
huge
it
percentage.
was, and when I looked, even I didn't take these numbers down, but when I look back even further, 2018, 2017,
Yep.
it was very normal to see multifamilies in the 500-600s,
Yep.
right? And so now we're in the 130. Last year, this time, there was 147. So overall, from this month, February 2024, going back to February of 2019, there was a 70% reduction in inventory in the multifamily space.
That's wild. I'm actually looking at your notes right now, right?
Yeah.
If you look at it from February 2019, 426, February 2020, 360, February 2021, 371, February 2022, 175, February 2023, 147. So it just shows you year by year it's drastically dropping.
Yep.
That's a crazy data.
Yeah. Yeah. And so then, you know, we've talked about rentals in the last in the last episode. So you kind of see how that affects rentals, right? These houses are not going up for sale. People are just holding on to their properties. They're probably keeping their tenants that they've had 7, 8, 9 plus years. And so it's kind of nuts with single families. And I mentioned the multifamilies because that's usually the hot topic. A lot of times we're
especially
still
here
seeing in Rhode Island.
We're seeing are big.
Yeah, we're seeing you know, when somebody goes for a pre-approval, loan officers are still, you know, they're given that option of the multifamily because sometimes they need it because they need to factor in that potential rental income.
True.
Specifically though, Providence County accounts for 95 of those 130 houses. So that's kind of a fun fact to share with your clients when they want to buy a you know, they want to buy a multifamily in the suburbs. I mean, Providence County covers suburban areas too, but still, majority of your inventory is going to be in the Providence County space. Yeah. So, but with single families, there's 612 right now. And under 500,000, that's 282.
Sheesh.
And the cheapest being something that has to be rehabbed. It's actually one of our office listings.
All right.
Hey, shout out to Carlos Ocampo.
Hey, my man
but
Carlos.
For 110,000, that's the cheapest.
Wow.
It borders Connecticut. It's in Westerly, borders Connecticut too. Yeah. So literally right down the middle. Yeah. So you'd own property in both Connecticut and Rhode Island if you purchase this property. So it's right on the line. Wow. Yep.
All right.
And then the most expensive being in Newport, 15 mil.
Damn.
20,000 square feet space, 17. What is it? I think it was 17 acres.
Wow.
Yeah, something like that.
Do you think a lot of why we're seeing such a major shortage in inventory is because people are not trying to? I think you mentioned people are not trying to put their property on the market, or why do you think people are holding off right now?
Well, I think if you consider the fact that not every person that owns a multifamily house is an investor, I mean, that'll tell you if somebody bought a 3-family to live in and to have the supplemental income in, let's just say, I don't know, the 90s even, what's the incentive to get rid of it? Unless they're going to retire somewhere else. Yeah. You know, right now they're probably living rent-free.
Rent-free. And then on top of that, they probably increased it to market rent. So that's crazy cash flow for them too on top of that.
Honestly, I don't think a lot of people do that. I don't think as many people do that as we think. Increase to market rent.
You don't think so?
No.
I think if they were smart enough, they would.
Well, I would love it if people did. But you know, and I know when you go to these multifamilies, you ask, like, what's the rent? And they're like
$800.
They're like
what?
$1,200. I'm like, sir, this is a 3-bedroom. Double parlor. What do you mean $1,200? Yeah. But that's what they can, like, if they bought the house for $100,000 and their mortgage is basically nothing, and they never refi it or anything like that, it's still cash flow for them. It hurts on the buyer side because now when they go for the appraisal,
Yeah.
you know, appraisers don't love to hear that
Yeah.
because they have to fit that self-sufficiency
If it's a 3-unit.
if it's a 3
Yeah.
unit. So I don't think a lot of people do. I don't think there's as many like these like savvy like sneaky investors that people like to think, right? Like people think that everyone that owns a multifamily is like some sneaky investor that's trying to take all their money. And not everyone's like that. I've met
That's
some
true.
really nice, like unfortunately ignorant like landlords. They just don't, you know, they bought at a good time.
Yeah.
They were lucky about it. They didn't really think about it.
it.
They were just like, oh, I should buy this house. And they did.
Yeah.
And they've literally been charging their same tenant that's been living there for 10 years the same $800. They're like, oh, I put it up once.
And I
Put the
wonder,
rent
they're
up
like, yo,
once.
this is probably the smartest investment I've ever made.
I don't honestly.
I
I
hope
don't
they
know.
think like that.
I hope they do.
I hope they
but
think
I've
like
helped
that.
people sell their multis, and I think they're just like, oh, cool. I'm getting a check, like, because not everyone's this like savvy investor that's sitting down crunching numbers
Yeah.
every night, like.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people think. They think everyone that owns a multi is just out here
Trying to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not even like that, but it's one of those situations where, you know, if you purchase a multi back in the days and you haven't sold and you're making cash on it, listen. I don't know how to advise. I probably wouldn't even. I don't want to say I don't know how to advise that situation. I guess if they want to sell or if there's a need for them to sell,
Right.
sell. You know, but if they make it out, what can you tell them? You know.
Yeah, no, it depends. Because how do you, if there's a person that, let's just say, a lot of us, especially people that their parents are like first generation, a lot of times they're still like working in factories and they're still working in these jobs that are not like the highest paying. So if they happen to make that sacrifice for their family years ago, and a lot of families that did come from other countries, they do that. They'll buy like a 3 tenement with their siblings or something.
Yeah.
That's allowing them to live at a time where most people can't afford a rent. So it's hard to tell somebody, oh, you should sell this house. Like, obviously, I want to list your house because that's how I make money too. That's how I keep a roof over my head. But it doesn't make sense for everyone. Sometimes you do have to hold.
No, that's true. I agree with you on that. On another note, though, you know the 2 properties literally on Federal Hill, they literally with new construction, they were probably built within, what year we're in, 2024, last 3 years, 19, 20, 21, 23, 4 years. Those properties just got bought out. These are 2 massive 3-story multi-unit properties. I believe they have about 25 units.
Are they considered? They're considered condos, right?
They consider
Yeah.
consider condo. Actually, they have 12 apartments in each building. They were purchased back in right before what you call COVID hit.
Yep.
In 2019. One land was purchased for like I think $80,000. It was crazy. Another one was purchased for like $110,000 or $100,000, right?
It's like what lots are going for right now for like a shotgun ranch.
Yeah, exactly. But they purchased these land that were literally at a church, right? The Lady of Mount Carmel Church, the bell tower. Those lands were owned by that church. I guess they were having financial issues. So the Omni Group purchased it. They developed it. So I was sitting there when I was reading the article, trying to just do random numbers. I'm like, all right, they purchased one lot for 80, another lot for 100, 110,000. Maybe they spent maybe $2 million to build both properties a piece, right? That's probably, let's say that's probably like, I'm just shooting rough numbers. Let's say it's $5 million all in.
Yeah.
Right. They sold both property, and also in addition to that, they also bought the church for $300,000.
Oh.
They renovated that church, added additional apartments, and it became a mixed unit and all that. So I'm just saying, all in, let's say they spent $5 million between the church and the 2 new construction buildings. They turned around, they sold it to a company that's outside of New York called Sempre Avanti Realty Corporation. They sold the whole entire plot or project for like $11 million.
Oh, wow.
So that's a ill ass come up.
That
That's a
and
ill
here,
come up.
I mean, I like numbers, but
Mhm.
not the way that like finance people like numbers.
Mm.
So you have this group that did all this research already.
Yeah.
They've done all this market research and they have all the data in front of them, and they've invested that in Providence,
Mhm.
right?
Yo.
That just goes to show all you people that be turning your nose up at Providence,
Mhm.
and I mean people that are from
Yeah.
Providence, right? There's something valuable about our small state
Yeah.
and about Providence.
Yes.
So there must be something that they saw and they've projected for them to invest that much money
Mhm.
into those properties.
And Omni Group is from here.
No,
Rhode
I
Island.
know.
Sempre is from New York.
That's what I mean.
So that, and we've been getting a lot of that. A lot of out of
See, I
state
told you I'm
investors.
nosy. I wish I could be a fly on these walls because I want to know. I want to know what they discussed. What did they see
Yeah.
when they were like, okay, cool. There's great food over there in that
Yeah.
area. But what else did they see and have they projected for the next 5 or 10 years for a group like that to come in and buy up that property?
I can't even answer that.
All I know is if you trying to invest something, that tells you something.
Yeah.
If they're willing to put their money
Into
up like that
Yeah.
on a small scale, you a small investor, now's the time.
Yeah, there's a
They've already
reason
done
why.
that research. It's just like Starbucks.
Mm.
They say if you so a lot of Airbnb people do this. They research where Starbucks are.
Yeah.
Because Starbucks does so much, they put so much time, effort, and energy into their market
data,
research
yeah.
and their data research into those neighborhoods. So if there's a Starbucks
Mhm.
in your neighborhood and you have a house there, the chances of you making money are greater.
Yeah.
Just based on that. Just if you follow, there are literally
Because the
people that
research
buy-
already has been done.
They've already
You
done
just
the
need
research.
to follow that trail.
Right. You don't have to pay some kind of data analyst or whatever to do any of that work for you because Starbucks already did it.
Yeah.
So right now, what are they? The Aventi group? They've already done some kind of research.
Yeah,
I don't
Semper
know what
Aventi,
it is, but I don't know.
They've done their research. They know what's going on, and the same reason why a lot of investors from out of state, New York, Connecticut, Boston, try and buy in Rhode Island. They see it, and financially makes sense too, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna go deep into that,
How beautiful
but
it is though too. Rhode Island is a pretty state.
it is. It's definitely. It's a nice state.
No, it is. I think we get so landlocked. Like, nah, go by the coast. Like, we got some nice things. We got great food.
Definitely
we have diversity.
Great food, great
I'm not as
women,
mad
great
at-
people, great
Of course,
everything.
you said great woman. You try to just skim over that. Whatever.
But on another note, there was an article too that was written. It was titled "American Dream Out of Reach."
Yeah, this one kind of got under my skin
Why is that?
because what do you like?
Let me before you even give your point, let me just explain to the people what's going on. So there was a former Goldman Sachs analyst by the name of Sam Dogan. He's the founder of what's called Financial Samurai, and in the article, it was basically stating that he can live on $20,000-$30,000 a year passive income.
Yep.
So originally, this guy, he had a net worth of $3 million, right? So he had $80,000 in 2012. That was passive income on an annual basis. He left his banking company. He took the severance pay. So he had this net worth of $3 million. And fast forward, he took his $80,000 and started investing in sales training, some sales training courses, websites, book sales, just to generate extra passive income.
Yep.
Right? And he ended up going from what he was earning in 2012 up to $380,000 that he projected that he'll be earning on an annual basis, straight passive. So then eventually what he ended up doing was he bought his family a single family home in San Francisco, straight cash. So now what he was earning for passive income, that $380,000 got chopped down.
Yep.
So now his biggest thing is like, damn, I can't
I can't stayed retired at 34 like I planned.
Exactly.
Right.
He's young guy.
Yeah.
Now he needs to, now for him to be able to support the family the way the family needs to be supported, annual income or passive income needs to be about $420,000 before taxes.
Yep.
So how do you is that him? How do you look at that? Is that him being greedy? Because this guy's financially sensible.
It's not being greedy. It got under my skin.
Maybe greed's the worst. Greed is the wrong term.
No, I don't think he's greedy. I think he just had a plan and unfortunately had to deviate from it because life changes, and so that wasn't factored in. But the article got under my skin, or I guess his whole like mantra on like retiring early annoys me because it gives that like financial guru, like, if you don't do this, you're dumb. And it's like, no, not everybody wants to necessarily do that because he's technically living the same way that most Americans are. Still having to, like, I think part of the article, he was like going grocery shopping, but he was having to check like where are the best sales this week.
Gotcha.
So he's still living and doing all of those normal day-to-day American things. So I guess if that's his American dream, right? Just like, okay, I retired at 34. Oops, made a little bit of mistake. Now me and my wife got to get some jobs for a couple years before we fully retire again. Fine. But they're still operating and functioning the same way. Yeah. Like most Americans are. Pinching pennies, looking at the circulars, seeing where, chicken's on sale this week at Dave's. Let me go stack up on that. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I would want to live like that.
For some people are different, right? I guess it depends on your nature of what you consider financial stability, right? For him, being frugal and being mindful where his finances are going is probably his thing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of Americans who don't think like that. A lot of Americans who just spend and don't realize where their money's going to.
Yeah.
With this guy, I feel like, me personally, I don't think there's anything wrong with the way he's living and the way he's financially projecting or the lifestyle that he wants to project for him and his family. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we all have a right to be able to want a certain type of lifestyle. Unfortunately, his situation was just that, did he make the right decision in buying the family home at a certain price point? Especially in San Francisco, we know that home prices are high. Could he have bought, he's living on a passive income.
Yeah.
Could he have moved out of California or out of San Francisco in a more least expensive area where he didn't need to spend that type of money?
Well, and he paid cash.
And he paid cash for it.
He paid cash.
Yeah.
So,
and some of that money came from some of that money he had to pull from his bonds and his stocks to be able to purchase that. So
I don't know. I think there's a couple things. The American dream isn't the same for everyone.
Yeah.
A. And then B, sometimes paying 100% cash for something isn't always great. Like, I think there was a period where like Dave Ramsey's had everyone convinced that cash, you got to buy cash, everything.
Yeah.
I can't even listen to that man now because he be out here, he just be out here saying whatever.
Dave Ramsey's another one.
No, he
He's
just be
another
out
one.
here saying
He's
whatever. But I think that's what it is that we went through this, like, look, cash is great. If you could buy that house cash, great. And if you can, that's great. But that would mean that you have to have X amount of residual or liquid income set aside, just sitting around, in order for that to make sense.
Yeah.
So maybe he could have done like half that in cash and mortgaged the rest.
Yeah.
And then maybe not have been in the same predicament.
Yep.
But then again, that doesn't really fit what his goal was.
Yeah.
Because I think the goal was to be like debt free and as part of all of
Who
that.
was debt free? Passive income. Like, if you're
no, but I mean, but taking out a mortgage, that means you're incurring a debt.
Yeah,
and,
that's true.
And people don't like that. And not all debt is bad debt. I mean, living beyond your means is terrible.
Say that again.
But
Talk that dirt.
Not all debt
Talk
is
that
bad
dirt.
debt.
Yes.
You need it sometimes.
Yes.
I don't know. I had to get a new car. Let me tell you, my credit scores skyrocketed. And let me tell you, I got a car
car.
payment. I haven't had to have a car payment in years, and now I have one.
Yeah.
But the credit card companies love it. They love to see it.
Yeah.
Like the amount of credit card offers and things you get after doing something like that is nuts.
Yeah, it is.
But no, not all debt is bad debt. I don't think he necessarily made a mistake. I think it just deviated his plan. But I mean, he's 34.
Dude's young.
He'll
and
be fine.
Having a net worth like that, $3 million, that's solid, man.
He'll
And being
be
able
fine.
to live on a passive income
Imagine
like that,
that,
oh
though.
my god.
Imagine the article though. Wow, I'm so sad. I'm still a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I gotta work another 3 years to get back to where I was at.
Let's stop Angela.
such a hater.
Let's stop Angela before she goes on this rant.
No.
On another note, we have a guest for you guys today. But before we even bring this individual on, how do you look at just random conversation real quick? How do you look at what's the American dream for you? What does that look like?
American dream for
Yeah.
me. I do not want to be working when I'm 70. Like, I don't mind working. I want to be doing something I love, which luckily I get to do 2 things that I love. I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to provide my son a life that I didn't have. I want to be able to go on vacations, a couple. I don't need to vacation every day, but I'd like to be able to go on a few vacations a year. And I want to just be able to, like, I like being able to just go into a store and be like, you know what, I want that shirt.
Yeah.
And it not being a problem. Like, I really do get, like, I get really happy when my son is like, oh, I need this for school.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I have this wrestling thing and it's, for instance, his uniform, his warm-up uniform is $100. And I was able to write the check and give him the $100.
Yeah.
And it not be the thing that made us
burden.
not be able to pay our light bill or put gas in the car, or I had to question like the food that we put in the house. So I just want to be able to continue to build on that.
Respect that. No, that's what's up. That's what's up. But on another note, we have a special guest for you guys today. So, this guy.
I'm excited.
No, I'm excited too, man.
Because I have him on Instagram. I follow him.
Yeah.
So let's bring him in. His name is Lorenzo Perry.
Yes. So after this break, after this commercial break, we're going to bring him on, and you guys are going to be introduced to the man himself, Lorenzo Perry.
Yes.
Let's go.
Well,
This episode is brought to you by Caltif Investments and Consultants. If you're looking for investments for new construction, home, or renovation project, they definitely can provide that service. If you're looking to rent or lease a property, Caltif Investment is the way to go. If you're watching this from our Instagram page, definitely their handle will be within the body of the post. If you're watching this, the full episode on YouTube, definitely send me a message and I'll definitely connect you. It's called the Netwrk for a reason.
Our perception of how we view success, doing exactly what you want to be doing. I could have had a head coaching job. It was just what I wanted to be doing.
Yes, Lorenzo Perry sitting with us. Lorenzo is the owner of GameDay Fitness. You've probably seen him all over your pages, training for everyone from kids to adults. And then just most recently, head coach at Mosesboro.
Correct.
There you go. Yeah. So I know I gave you a little brief intro, but tell us a little bit about Game Day and being a head coach and how you kind of got started doing that.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I've always been a football guy, since I was, when I could walk.
Yep.
I've just always been athletic and, football's always been my thing. So I played in high school, played in college. And when I was playing in college or even in high school, I love the process. I love the process of trying to be great, So I knew that, when I was in high school, I just started working out just because, like I said, whatever it is that I do, I want to be great at it. I don't want to just play the game just to play the game. If I'm going to play the game, I want to dominate, and part of that process was just working out and perfecting the craft as best as I possibly can. So as I start to elevate my play, and some of my friends and teammates see the way I'm working out and doing things, people just naturally started to, hey, can I work out with you? Hey, can I work out with you? So I was training people before it was really a profession, before I even knew what I was
crazy,
doing,
yeah.
you know, before, you know what I mean? I'd never even looked at it like that. It was just like, oh, my boys want to work out with me, cool, you know? Then when I went to college, you know, very similar, you know, I took the craft very seriously, you know, when I was playing college football. Everybody's different. There's some guys that live, sleep, and eat football or whatever their craft is. You guys are in the real estate, you know. I heard Ange talking about how she loves the numbers, and some people love to really dive into their craft and understand everything about it and be great at that. And then there's some people that's just real casual with it, and they're just like, you want to buy a house? Yeah. You know, and there's some people that play football, they just wake up, they play the game. And then there's other people, like I said, they eat the right things, they work out the right way, and they do everything that it takes to kind of be the best that they could possibly be. And I was just one of those guys that loved the craft and loved the process. So I always kind of did everything I possibly could do to play it at a high level. And a lot of my friends and teammates seen that. So again, they would just naturally gravitate towards, you know, wanting to work out and wanting to do some of the things that I did. And then after college, I started coaching youth football. So I started getting a lot of, hey, can you train my son? Oh, do you work out? Can I work out with you? Can I? So, you know, one thing led to another. And I was like, you know what? This thing's really, so I started looking into it a little bit and realizing, like, people,
something here.
this you can make a living off this, you know. There's people really doing this for a living. So I was like, you know what, I was started to really look into the personal training craft, and I went over to Bally's. I don't even know if they're still open right now, if they got any, you know, these. Yeah.
I don't
They
know.
probably out west.
Yeah. You know, these gyms turn over so fast.
Facts.
It's like it's Gold's Gym, and then you go there and you're like, that's LA Fitness?
Yeah,
now?
facts.
Yeah.
When did that become LA
Facts,
Fitness?
yeah.
You know, so yeah. So anyways, I had knew one of the trainers over at Bally, so I went over there, I spoke to him about possibly joining their team. So I went there and I sat down with him, and Angie will probably love this part, is, you know, when you first start out, so they're talking about numbers. They're like, okay, you're coming in, we're going to charge, say, $100 a session, but since you're coming in, you don't have any certifications, you're going to get $16.
Get out. Damn.
You know? So I was like, wait a minute.
Damn.
Wait a minute. So yeah, so as they're kind of talking about that, and, you know, that's just, you know, everything that you guys was kind of talking about kind of segues to this, about just being the owner and taking those risks, and you're gonna get the lump sum, and everybody working under you, they're gonna get
But
whatever.
$16 to $100, that's robbery.
That's
you know how
robbery.
you know how I feel about not paying people. I get so mad when people. I hate it when people be like taking advantage and not paying people.
Yeah,
Run him his check.
Right. So, and that was just kind of general. Those wasn't the exact figures, but it was something, you know, crazy that, you know, just didn't really make sense to me, because one is I already kind of had like a following of people that I knew wanted to work out. I just didn't have the space to bring them to work out. So, you know, after, you know, thinking about it and figuring some things out, long story short, I ended up just getting a small little hole in the wall spot at a community center. I was actually working at the community center, Mount Hope Community Center, and there was some space in the back that wasn't being utilized. It was just like a catch-all space, and I, you know, talked to the executive director, and I was like, listen, so I got a plan, I got a vision. I'll clean the space up. I'll do everything, whatever needs to be done. I'll renovate it. You know, this is what I want to do with it, you know, and on top of that, I will contribute back to the community center. And he was like, you know, so I don't think they really understood the vision and how crazy I was going to go with it. Because it's like, oh, no, you could use the space and kind of, and it's like, you know, then he peeks out there and he's like, oh, wow. Wow. All right. Let's have some conversation. You know what I mean? Because at first it's just like, you know, if someone's like, oh, Sadiq, yeah, you could use this. And they see, oh, you got 100 people coming up. Whoa, okay, this is something. Yeah. So that's really kind of how I started GameDay Fitness. Like I said, GameDay Fitness is really just the name I gave it, but the craft itself was already being crafted before the name actually came to be and the whole business plan
Shout out
came
to a
to be.
community center giving you your first little shot.
Yeah,
His
yeah.
first shot and actual location too.
Right, right.
Now now you have GameDay Fitness. You get these amount of individuals into Mount Hope Center. How did that translate for you financially? Because you didn't have to pay. Did you have to pay to rent out the space over the course of time, or?
Yeah, it was basically, like I said, I keep referencing you and Angela because a lot of it makes sense. It's almost like, when you're renting a house and it's like, oh, like she was saying how these people like had this house and it's like, what are you paying for rent? Well, you're paying what?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like basically peanuts. I was paying something, but it was like
Nothing really.
nothing compared to what like market value was for that particular square footage of space.
So let's say now years later,
Yeah.
you're growing. How did you transition? What did that transition look like for you?
Yeah, so I kind of, outgrew the space. I outgrew the space. It was, the following just kind of just exploded, quickly. Great word of mouth. So I started to look for new space probably about a year after being where I was. Kind of had a vision of what I wanted to do. So, yeah, I found a nice little spot over there on Branch Ave in the Mills. The Wanskett Mills, they actually redid those mills, but that was kind of the next space that I went to. So, just for references, like the space where I was initially was roughly about 450 square feet.
Right.
And then the space I went to, that was about 1,500 square feet.
Right.
So kind of, about tripled
the
or
square footage.
even it might have been like 2,000 actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Yeah, so I went to that space, did really well over there, was able to expand on my programming and add some things that I wasn't able to do at the first location, just size-wise. So I went over there and did really well. The business, grew and like I said, it started to really, blow up.
Yeah, because you need, because I follow you, so you need that space because like your turf workouts are intense.
Exactly.
They're long.
She really follows.
I do. Well, first of all, my son played football.
Yeah.
And I think actually that's probably how it came up because Vic was coaching. My husband's textbook coach. It's funny he'll say that because he had to. There was nobody else to coach, so he was like, "I guess I'll do it." And so he had to learn the game. So my son unfortunately didn't love football the way that you're passionate about it. But that's how I follow because I would see like the speed and agility workouts, which I really like because I ran track, and people don't realize like you need that.
Right.
And so some I have friends that they'll do some training with me and stuff and they do similar workouts. So yeah, it comes up on my page. But you don't see it with the tennis balls and the triangles.
Oh, man.
You don't see the little triangles, the ladders, and those little kids are fast.
Yes.
He trains fast. Those little
them
kids,
kids
they got
that you're training,
the footwork.
they're a beast with it. They're definitely a beast with it.
I used to yell at the football kids, and I used to be like, "Get your footwork right. Like this is muscle memory. On a field, you're gonna be doing this." Because they would get mad when they would have to do like the drills.
Right.
When they have to work off the field.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, "You're literally doing this." Yeah. And I pointed out, even to this day, to Z. So when he's wrestling, my son wrestles now. I'd be like, "Yo, you were wearing a 3-point stance. You were. You were.
There you
hello.
go. There you go. You know some stuff.
Get it together.
All right.
I'm paying attention.
I see it. Okay.
Angela's on top of her stuff. And, I want to tap into your business model.
For sure.
So now you jumped into a 450 square feet to about 1,500 to 2,000 square feet.
Yep.
You've created programs, not to talk numbers or anything like that, but how did that elevate you? How did you evaluate your business model for this new space that you have? Because obviously you need to grow financially.
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
So how did that look? What does that look like for you?
Right. So as you guys say, the numbers have to make sense. The numbers have to make sense. So like I said, this other space where I was paying, pretty much peanuts, now you're going into a space that's 3 or 4 times that size. And like I said, my boy, shout out to Ray Watson, who was the executive director. Yeah,
Ray
Ray
Watson.
Watson.
Indian?
Yep. He is.
Yeah,
He is.
he
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
graduated from well, not just, maybe like 2-3 years ago, I think
Yep.
it was. He graduated from Roger Williams,
Roger
right?
Williams Law. Yeah.
Shout outs to Ray Watson. That dude
Yeah.
does major things.
Right. So shout out to Ray. He really looked out with that space. So like I said, now you're going into a space where you're going to be expected to pay kind of market value per square footage. It's not just somebody saying, you know what, you're here, take this space. I'm going to look
Yeah.
out for you till you get on your feet and do your thing. So I had to really dive into the numbers and figure out, and it's also, right, so if someone gives you some space, you can charge somebody a fraction of what the value really is, because you're not paying that. A lot of, like I said, I keep using the analogy you guys use with landlords. It's like if you bought a house way back when for 100,000, you can charge 500, 800 for
Yeah.
rent. But now that the market has changed and you're not getting that house for 100,000, that house is more like 500,000-600,000. I can't charge that number that they can charge over there, because you know what I mean. So it was the same kind of
So your
concept.
clients had to absorb some of that.
Right, absolutely. So there was I did have to do an increase in pricing with the current clientele, and then the business model was going to be more of a kind of volume based, where, like I said, the spacing was small, so I could only fit, but so many people in that space. But as I was going to this new space and kind of expanding our program, and one of the things that was to kind of introduce more group style training, especially for younger kids, like you and Andrew just talking about, with that play sport, so speed, agility, and things like that. So I didn't have turf before, so this was the addition of the turf, and really bringing in.
I love hearing stuff like that. I love that, because
Yeah.
he actually took. Now that's, to me, I feel like that's entrepreneurship, and I love how it just didn't become football for you no more.
Right.
It became business.
Absolutely.
So you had to look at space in terms of how can you maximize it financially,
Right.
and that, for me, hearing you speak like that, like, to me, like, I don't know, I love when I hear stuff.
Super
like,
motivating.
It's so motivating
Because it's true. Football became your business. Became fitness, health.
It became a whole business
It translates
model.
into that. I mean, it just wow.
A complete way of life. Yeah. So it was just really sitting down, crunching those numbers and figuring out, all right, like anything, this is what I'm leasing the space at. This is what I need to bring in monthly. This is what I need to bring in weekly. This is, like, I like to break things down to the very minute. Like, I know when I run a program, like, how many participants do I need in each class for it to be like sell out, for it to be great. I know if I hit this number, perfect. I don't even need to worry about touching any numbers. Specifically, I just know persons wise, these are the number of persons in the space, so I'm good. And then once those persons start to get to a number, all right, I know what I need to bring in volume wise to make sure that this is going to work, and I can pay my bills, I could keep the lights on, I could put some money in my pocket, I can put some money away in the bank. So
that's dope.
Yeah.
Flawless. Now, you currently were you trying to purchase a spot before, or was your whole plan to always lease?
Yeah, so as you guys say, when you're not the owner,
Yeah.
right, you don't control too much. I own my business, but I don't own the building.
Yeah.
So when you don't own the building, you're kind of at the mercy of
The landlord.
Yeah.
And if the market's going great and he says, you know what, your lease is up, and I know I can get somebody in here that's going to pay more than you are paying right now, so this is what we're going to charge. So long story short, my lease was up, and they wanted to raise the rent something crazy, like $300 or $400, and then on top of that, they wanted to do a 5% annual increase. And I was just like, no, that's crazy. So I basically wasn't willing to, sign another lease with them. Yeah. So I went into the office. I met with the office manager. We kind of talked, and I was like, what about this? And presented, kind of try to do some negotiations with the lease. But seemed like they wanted to go in another direction. So I was like, I'm not paying this and paying a 5% annual increase.
Sheesh.
So I paid them for that month, and then I just went on a grind just looking for new space. So I ended up finding, some new space. And again, I learned from that experience, because when I went in there, I knew the square footage of what I was looking for. So when they were showing me space, I was like, no, that's not going to work. That's not going to work. Too big, too small, too. So I knew exactly what I wanted, because I already had the business model. So every time they were showing me space, I knew right off rip, like, no, this isn't going to work, and then when I finally did find a space that would work, now we're talking numbers. So without getting deep into all of the numbers, I was able to negotiate a much better rate based on the previous experience I just had at my last space. So I was able to get the monthly rent, the monthly lease drop down, and the annual increase that they wanted. So they wanted to do a 3% annual increase. I was able to get that down to a 1.5%.
Half of that, solid.
Yeah. And they wanted, I was able to get the monthly lease dropped down a couple of $100. It was a win-win. So they wanted to do a 1-year lease. I said, you know what if I do a 5-year lease? Instead of a 3% annual increase, let's do a 1.5% annual increase, and let's freeze it for the first, 2 years.
I don't know why I'm cheesing right now.
I know why you're cheesing, because it's why I'm happy.
I'm cheesing right
It's
now.
exactly why I'm happy.
As he's breaking this down.
So I just went in there and asked for everything, like even.
He said, I went in there and asked for everything. I'm taking all these notes. I went in there and asked for everything.
Right.
Yo,
And it
talk
was
that
like,
shit. Oh my God, that's what's up.
Even with rent, they was like, all right, they didn't start right out at, say they was charging $2,000. They didn't start right out at the $2,000. I was able to say, all right, for the first 3 months, can I pay this? Next 3 months, pay this. And then at month 6, I'll be at that top rate. So it was like so many things that I was able to negotiate, based on my previous experiences with going into it, and just not accepting pretty much what I knew I couldn't afford. You know what I mean? I knew what my budget was.
Yeah.
So when I was at the previous space and they wanted to increase the rent and they wanted a 5% annual increase, I could have probably done it the first year, but I know one of the biggest things I've learned in business is overhead is everything.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know? So if you're getting taxed and you're getting killed in overhead, the profitability is gonna reduce significantly.
Yeah.
So it was, I understood that. So that's why I didn't sign that first deal, and then that's what helped me able to negotiate the lease for the second space and make sure I was able to put myself in a position, that could be there long term at a rate and numbers that I felt comfortable with.
Damn. Now, so not only did you went in with a mindset of, all right, you had a budget, a specific number that you need to be at, monthly budget. That's one. 2, you also went in there with a mind space of, you wanted to be in there long term, right?
Right.
But in order to be there long term, that number also has to make sense. So you negotiated a 3% annual increase.
Negotiated his future.
A 1.5. They wanted 3.
And you negotiated down to 1.5.
1.5,
But Angela
exactly.
stated this in perfect term. He negotiated his future.
Absolutely.
Like I
Because
couldn't put that any better.
A year is a short period of time. So
Yeah.
much can happen in a year, where you give yourself that 5 years, and for everything that you've accomplished up into to this point, imagine 5 years from now,
Yeah.
and you're and you don't have to worry about where am I gonna go.
Absolutely.
And that's a locked in 5 years.
Yeah, that was locked in. I've already met that requirement of being locked in for 5 years. So right now I'm on month to month. So I was actually, as I got a little bit more knowledgeable on commercial real estate, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna try to buy a space, because I plan on I'm looking at it. I'm like, I plan on running this gym and own this gym for at least another 20 years. So, and when I was looking to expand, everything that I was looking at, the numbers was just astronomical. And you guys know, if you can buy, because I know it's tough and not everybody's in a position to do that, especially initially, because that down payment can be very challenging to come up with that figure. So not everybody's in a position to do that. So I was looking at buying a space because I said, you know what? I'm going to be here for 20, 25 years. I'm going to run this gym, for that length of time. I want to grow and I want to expand. It just didn't make sense to lease another space, for say $7,500 when I can buy something and pay $3,500, and then I'm gonna have it for 25 years, and then I'm gonna own that asset. Like after those 25 years, I'm gonna own that asset that should be fully paid off now. And then if real estate follows the trend, like if I pay 500, if I pay $500,000 for it right now. In 25 years,
double.
Hopefully it should
double.
More than double. Yeah.
Right. So I was really hoping to really kind of buy some space to get into. Unfortunately, that didn't work out. This was last year. I was looking. I had put an offer in actually on a space that they ended up going in. It was just too late. It was too late. By the time I got all my ducks in a row to put my offer in, they kind of went in another direction. But as you guys just said, there's not much out there. And that was the same for commercial real estate for what I was looking for, because everything was, very specific with what I was looking for, and there just wasn't much out there. So, but I'm still looking, and I still a goal to,
to buy and have it be yours.
Absolutely.
What are you looking for as you're searching for this space that you want to own for the next 20 years?
Yeah, so I was looking for a standalone building. Had to be around 6,000 square feet. Ceilings, I was looking for 18 high ceilings. So a lot of it was very specific with some of the things that I was looking for, just because of you have a business model, and I didn't want to deviate from the business model because then I don't know if the numbers would have worked. So if I know I needed 18 high ceilings because I was going to put a half-court basketball court in there that I was going to rent out for 8 hours a day at $75 an hour, and that was going to bring in, I don't even know what, I'm just throwing numbers out. That was going to bring in $8,000 a month, and now I'm getting a space that has 14 high ceilings, and I can't put the basketball hoop in, and now I have to come up with another plan that's completely outside of the business model that I already designed, that I know if I get this space, this will work. You know what I mean? So I had to stick to that. So a couple of the buildings that I seen, it was nice space, but it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And I was going to have to reconfigure my entire business model that I don't know if that business model will work because I didn't do the research on that model that it would be profitable and be successful. So I didn't move forward.
Angela, you know what he's telling us?
He needs us to. We gotta find him a space.
He needs a space right now.
I just took a little mental note.
He said you gotta get to work.
We gotta find him a space. But you know what I love about
this?
this story though? It's that and you probably get this.
Ill.
You probably get this because you were this athlete. So people are like, can't be that smart. You can't be, because God forbid people can be both, right? They're probably like, this football head, this meathead, whatever. But then you're running a successful business, but not only that, but it's not by luck or chance. Like, you've literally put pen to paper. You've kind of thought out every kind of corner of your business already. So you're a little like it's a surprise. Like you're a little like you're shocking people. I love that for you, and that's why he was smiling. I know that's why he was smiling, because you got a black man sitting in front of you, probably from similar backgrounds. Like where from? And you're sitting up here and you're schooling us. Like, I'm learning I'm learning as I'm going too.
I'm just learning as he's talking.
So that's why this one's over here all smiley.
For me, like, when you hear stories from other people of color, right, especially black men, right, it's already hard for black men as it is, right, in this world that we live in, to even sustain a business, right, or to have the type of success that we're looking to gain, right, and especially from where
the
we're
notoriety.
From,
can we just say that? And the notoriety.
Yes. Especially from where we come from. But to see a black man doing this thing from where we came from, Like, to me, that's all smiles, and that's all respect and love that, that you deserve. At the
Absolutely,
end of
for
the
sure.
day, and like, major shout out to you, major shout out to GameDay Fitness. What's your vision for GameDay Fitness?
Yeah, so I kind of just broke it down a little bit, and I go back and forth, because at one point I was like very content in the space I was in, because I felt like the shift, especially with COVID, was going more digital. So I wanted to grow, but I was like, you know what, I'm not going to grow in the brick and mortar space. I'm going to keep this space here, but I'm going to grow from a digital perspective, because the overhead can be a lot cheaper
Less, yeah.
growing from that digital space. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to have a very strong web presence. I'm going to create a lot of these online programs, because the demand's still there for that. Like,
Oh,
the
yeah.
demand's crazy for, you know, people looking to do online training and just different programs. And then we're such a global world right now. So you could love somebody's work,
Doesn't
that's
matter what country you're
right.
at.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter where they're from, but if you love their work, there's ways for you guys to connect
Yeah.
and you to learn from them and grow from them. It doesn't have to be kind of what it was before, so everything just being so global the way it is now, and social media booming the way it's booming. I was constantly getting requests and inquiries from people out of state, different countries. So that's when I was like, you know what? Maybe the space I'm in right now is perfect, and the growth needs to be from a
Digital standpoint.
digital standpoint online, and just figuring out how to navigate that space and carve out a lane for myself
You
over
put out
there.
good content.
Really
Your
good
content
content.
is
Right,
good.
thank you.
Your
Thank
content
you.
that you put out is great.
Yeah,
I told you I'd be
so-
remembering. I have a bad memory. I got a bad memory, but I be knowing.
Yeah. So I try to focus on that. So I am still looking to do that, but I also feel like it's valuable to have a brick and mortar space in this business, because I think people love that. People love that interface. Like, I could train you and be on camera and, Sadiq, 10 more push-ups and do this and do that. But with you and I having that interaction and that socialization, I think people love that piece of it. So a lot of my clients that do come to the gym, we have a really great relationship, and they love that aspect of
That one-on-one interaction
they
is
love
key.
that. They love it,
Yeah.
So I think that was, really important. So with that, I was like, you know what? If I'm going to be in a brick and mortar space, I want to be in space that's just, phenomenal, So I wanted to grow, and I wanted to, as I do now, kind of focus on the youth athletic development piece of it. So I just really wanted to have what I have now, but just kind of grow it and expand it a little bit, and just add a couple other components to that, because the need and the demand is, as great as it's ever been right now, from not even just athletes. Like, I don't, that's a misconception too. People think that I just like train like youth athletes. I train, parents who your kid just spends too much time on a tablet. They're just constantly, they're sitting down all day. They're sitting in school, they're sitting in a car, they're sitting on a couch, they're sitting in bed in their room. You're just like, my God, you just want your kid to be active. So they might not even play any sports, but you're just like, what, I think it's important for them to move a little bit and exercise and do some of them things. So I train kids that, that's where they are. And then I also train kids who, you see something in your son right now that he's really gifted, and you want him to continue to perfect his craft. So I train that whole continuum of athletes, from kids that do absolutely nothing to kids that are, young superstars.
Wow. Very, very well said. There's a game that we play. I'm gonna let Angela. She typically runs the game.
Yep.
You have that?
Oh, am I doing it?
Yo,
Am
you
I
typically
doing it?
run
All
it.
right. I'm gonna name a few people,
Okay.
and then you have to just give me one word that comes to mind after I name this person. Just one word, no explanation.
It's all athletic.
It's all athletic.
Athletes,
Okay.
I meant.
Okay. Michael Jordan.
GOAT.
I knew he was gonna say that. Troy Aikman.
Leader.
All right, nice.
Deion Sanders.
Showman.
This is
Yo,
true.
he's
Yeah.
good.
Tom Brady.
I already used GOAT. I would say perseverance.
Good word.
Last one. LeBron James.
Icon.
Wow.
You're good at this.
Yeah,
You
really-
got a good vocabulary.
Yeah, very good.
A
I'm like,
good
all right.
vocabulary.
And he chose the right words for each individual
Yeah.
athletes. That's dope.
I try, because Tom Brady, he's like, yeah, he's the GOAT now, but he was a 6th-round draft pick, so he didn't come out with the keys handed to him. It was something that
He had to build.
Right. So his perseverance to really become as great as he's had is just, I respect that.
Wow.
I respect that. Yeah.
Respect that, man. How does Lorenzo Perry define success in his own words?
I think success is doing exactly what you want to be doing, and I relate that to, so when I did get this head coaching job at Moses Brown, a lot of people was like, oh, congratulations. Oh, it's about time, you got a head coaching job. And I could have had a head coaching job. It's just not what I wanted to be doing at that time.
Yeah.
So I think success is doing what you want to be doing at that particular time. So I was coaching youth football and still coaching youth football for 17 years, not because that was the only opportunity that I had to coach. It was just what I wanted to be doing
Tell
at
him.
that
Say
time.
I've been successful.
Yeah.
Say I've been successful. That's
Right,
great.
right. So I think that sometimes our perception of how we view success can be, skewed a lot of times, and it's not the typical, hierarchical structure that we think for it to be. Like she could be a elementary school teacher and get a high school job, and they're like, "Oh my God, congratulations, that's awesome! You're climbing up the ladder," and she's like,
It's just what I want to
That's
do
true.
at this
right,
point.
it's just
yeah.
what I want to do. So like for me, it's like I just look at success as you're doing exactly what you want to do, and that's the way that I kind of am on this journey right now. Is I'm doing kind of what I want to do and very strategically, kind of doing it. So with this coaching opportunity, it's not that I've been overlooked or I've never had these opportunities or nobody's never, presented these opportunities to me. Like I've had opportunities to coach at this level. I have teams and schools that had reached out to me, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do at that particular time, so.
Time's everything.
It is. It is. Timing is everything, So this is what I wanted to do at the time right now. The opportunity came, and
Would you have thought that this is where you would be, though? Let's say when you were pee-wee football, maybe 10-year-old you, shuffling around on the field,
shaking
right?
cats.
Breaking ankles.
yeah.
Did you think, like, here you would be doing what you love, still involved in football in some way, shape, or form, and working at one of Rhode Island's private
Top
schools,
elite
top
schools.
private
Right,
schools?
right. No, not at all. Not at all. Just because I've never, like for me, coaching wasn't really just about, let me teach somebody how to catch, let me teach somebody how to get in a 3-point stance. Like for me, that's not really very fulfilling. What's really fulfilling and gratifying for me is, like I said, coaching where I was for 17 years in a city, where being a role model for some of these kids who, like you just said, they don't have a lot of black role models in certain communities that these kids can look up to, that can give them the right guidance, that can give them the correct, they can have those conversations with on,
And be relatable.
Right. So for me, it wasn't just about coaching. So that's why I didn't take those opportunities before, because I love the mentorship of it. I love the social. I'm like a social worker with, the role that I'm in now. So for me, that's a lot more gratifying. That's a lot more fulfilling than just teaching someone to catch and teaching someone to run and teaching someone how to get in a 3-point stance. It's like you're in a role where you're needed, not necessarily a role that you want it. It's like, we need you in this role, not we want you in this role because you'll be good at this role. It's like, it's critical for us to have you in this role. So I like to try to find space that's fulfilling, from a spiritual perspective. And, it's just, you just find meaning in it. And like, I've been coaching youth football for 17 years. Like, you don't get paid, it's volunteer. So for anybody to
I used to have to do the book.
Did you?
I used to have to do the book. The book.
Right,
That's a
yeah.
40-hour gig just
It
before
is,
they
it
even step
is.
on the field. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Oh,
The
yeah.
book is definitely, it's a lot of work. So I think for anybody, if you're going to volunteer for that amount of times, it's got to be fulfilling, and it's got to be gratifying for you in a way that, uplifts you to keep you continuing to do that work.
Shout out to you and all the kids that get the opportunity to be and work with you.
Can I ask you one question before we even close out?
Yeah.
When you're speaking to an inner city kid that you're training,
Yep.
that's going through hard times or facing challenges in his or her life, what word of wisdom would you provide that young child?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely tough, because it's going to be very situational based on, like, what are your challenges? Are your challenges, there's kids in school that want you to join this gang. There's, you're in a single parent household, and you're dealing with some challenges with, you and your mother dynamic, that you're going through. So it really depends on, kind of what that specific dynamic is with that inner city kid. A lot of times our inner city kids, drugs, guns, violence, those are typically the things that, that we see. But a lot of that's really expanding now into, like, I had a kid on my team that he ended up leaving the team because he was, like, mentally, he was, dealing with, like, anxiety and depression, and I didn't get a chance to really dive deep and get to the root of that with him, because, mom took him off the team, and, they did whatever they did with that situation. But, so it's very person dependent on some, the advice that you give, each kid. But I think just generally, like, one of my boys that we used to coach together, his big three was, graduate from high school, don't get nobody pregnant, and don't get a felony. If you could do those things, if you can not, if you could stay away from that, you're setting yourself up to at least be able to have choices and options that are kind of in your control. Once you start either having kids and you start, getting in trouble with the law, and you're dropping out of school, you're putting yourself so far behind the 8 ball that a lot of the choices are not going to be yours anymore. You're going to have to do what somebody else is telling you to do. You're going to have to work where somebody else is willing, you know what I mean? You don't, unfortunately, get to start creating your own path anymore. Like, so those are things that become very challenging to overcome, and I was lucky to not have any of those, be a part of my story at such a young age.
So where can people find you? Tell us websites. Where can they follow you?
Yeah. So I definitely
Where
have
can they buy your programs?
That's it.
Got to get everybody to check.
That's it. Yeah. No, I got a real strong social media presence. So I'm very active on Instagram, Facebook. My son makes me be on Snapchat. I haven't gotten on TikTok yet, so don't look for me on TikTok. So mainly Facebook and Instagram are the two platforms that I primarily utilize. GameDay Fitness on both platforms. Lorenzo Perry, my personal Facebook page. But yeah, so I'm active on all of those social media accounts. So feel free to reach out for, anything.
Shout out. Yo, man. Great freaking interview today. Definitely proud that you came onto our platform today, Lorenzo. We really, really appreciate that. I know I appreciate that.
I do too. I do too.
And it was just amazing hearing your experience, your business model and how you operate with kids. I think that's dope in its totality. But you guys know what it is. It's your boy Sadiq. If you guys ever want to connect with us, you guys know where to find us on our Instagram page, Facebook page, TikTok, the network.co, THANETWRK.co. And if you guys love what you guys love the content that you guys hear today, please don't forget to follow, share, and please definitely engage. Check out GameDay Fitness.
Yes, sir.
What's up with you, Angela?
No, make sure you follow. I'm gonna tell you the same thing. Follow, engage, talk to us in the comments, vote.
Yes,
We'll be
vote.
putting those voting options on there.
Yes.
Engage with us because we like to see the platform grow.
Yes.
We want to be able to continue to do these kinds of meaningful interviews. So
And if there's
Yeah.
anybody that you guys want to see that's on a local level that you guys would love to, that's making moves, that's doing powerful things that you guys really are inspired by or want to hear their stories or their knowledge from, definitely let us know. We'll do our best to try to reach out to the individuals to try to bring them onto the platform so they can share their stories and bring value to you guys. But until next time, it's your boy Sadiq Davies. Talk to me dirty. Let's go.
peace.